Great, thank you. So I guess it's appropriate for me to stand up here so I can see. First order of business, if I can move these down so I don't poke myself in the eye as I lean forward. Thank you for coming. I really appreciate everyone coming out, and hopefully the things that you take away will be useful. If you've attended previous sessions that I've done for About Video, this is different. So don't worry if you're worried like, I don't know if I want to go to that one, because I'm kind of a completely different kind of ideas. But let me just tell you who I am in case you don't know. I work for TechSmith Corporation. We make a product called Snagit and Camtasia Studio. I'm not going to be talking about those today. What I've done in my kind of background and history is I actually ran our training, support, and documentation department. So I was managing all the help files that you saw in the products. We were managing the tutorial videos that we're creating for our website. And if anyone ever contacted our support team, I was managing that team as well. About a year and a half ago, I shouldn't say this too loudly, I made a switch to marketing. I know. But here's the thing, how I saw it. They said, here's an opportunity, come take over our video team. I said, oh, that sounds really great. I want to learn more about video. I want to be engaged in more working with cameras and things like that. And then they said about 4 or 5 months later, oh, by the way, there's a change. We need you to take over social media. I said, okay, I really want to do the video stuff, but I'll do social media as well. And as some things have changed, and I've really been able to form my philosophy about what my role is, I said, I'm not really a marketer. I don't know formal marketing. I get myself in trouble because I say stupid stuff to the marketing people all the time. One that almost cost me the position about marketing. Not a good idea on your first day. Oops. But the way I look at it is I'm here to help people. Social media, we're all about helping our customers and users to be successful. Video, I want people to understand what the products do. That will help them be successful. So while I might be wearing on my business card it says marketing, I don't really see myself that way. I'm really about the users and advocating for them. But what we're going to talk about today is video. And how many of you think video is a complex topic? Things that it's hard. Come on, it's okay. I think it's hard sometimes. I think a lot of people think it's hard. It's this foreign kind of concept, especially as I've talked to people in the technical communication world, it's like, that's a whole different space. I use words, and I don't want to think in this other way, because it does take a different way of thinking. But I'm going to hopefully show you that it doesn't have to be so complex. But whatever I'm going to talk about today, this is about you and not about me. We've done we've done a study I'll talk about in a minute, but you have to experiment. Verify my words, verify your own results. Honestly, I'm going to pitch video to you. I'm going to say video is great, it's wonderful, and you might walk out and say, what a load of rubbish. Go away, I don't want to do video, I don't think it will work for my audience. Fine, but test it out for yourself. Don't just take 100% of my words and say, yep, that's exactly right, because your audience is not my audience, and probably some of the results will differ. So what we did at TechSmith, we actually did a survey with 1,900 individuals. We asked them to do a typical questionnaire, but one of the things I think was unique, we asked them to send us an example of great video, and then our researchers went through and watched all those videos and categorized and classified and found commonality and things that were different about them. So it's a lot. So this is the things I'm going to talk about come from this research. If anyone's interested in chatting more about it afterwards, of course we can, but let's go through and we can talk about some of the things that I hope will help you as technical communicators actually think about video and what you need to be doing. I will preface again, we're not going to talk about tools. So if you have a preferred tool or want to know a tool, we can talk afterwards. There's a lot of great options out there that you can start getting going on making videos. And if you want to get into camera conversations, I'm happy to talk cameras or audio equipment or whatever that might be, but not in today's actually talk. So this is the thing that is important. Half the information in the survey you probably don't really care about. We don't really care too much about entertainment, but we asked because we wanted to know, and most of the people, well, about half the people, were talking about entertainment as their videos, that make great videos and what content should be included in videos. And while we want to ignore that, I think there's lessons to be learned, but really what's important here is that from just a pure information standpoint, 27% of the videos reviewed fall in that category, and 25% were instructional. So we're going to say half of our study is really probably relevant to you in this room. Even if you're not doing a lot of instruction, I often talk to instructional designers or information developers and say, guys, the things you're making, yes, it might be more procedural, but it's instructional. It helps someone to do something. So that's the breakdown of our videos reviewed. And so we'll see it by these colors throughout the presentation. But who are we talking to? So it's great that we had 1,900 people, but these were not just kids off the street, because that would have been a totally different study yet again. So we actually talked to people in the financial services and investment industry. We talked to people in higher education, primary, secondary, people in the government, healthcare, manufacturing, people that were doing media and graphic design, and of course software. How many of you are represented by one of these groups on the board? Okay, it's hard to see with the light here, but so a lot of you. Now that doesn't mean if you're not represented here that you weren't somehow covered or it's not applicable, but these were the ones that we focused on as kind of the primary folks. And I think there might have been a few outliers here and there that I left off the list, but these were the main ones. So you can see it covered kind of a wide variety. Age. Age is an important piece about how you consume information, especially when it comes to video. If we look at what's really popular right now, how many of you have ever made a Vine video, 6-second video? 1, 2. Well, come on, guys, give it the times. It's pretty cool, right? 6 seconds. What can you do with a 6-second video? Okay, how about Instagram video? 15 seconds. Anyone? 2, 3, not very many. So when we start to look at youth and demographic differences, I think younger generation tends to skew more that way. It's not 100%. It's not one way or the other. But we actually talked to a wide range of people between 25 and really 55 is the core of the study. There's a few others in there, but those were the main targets in the audience. There was some 15 to 24-year-olds. But just know that from a kind of statistical standpoint, most of it's within the range of people that we're probably going to talk to on a professional level. I think it's important to know about video. Videos are becoming more and more popular. We look at YouTube as a place where people go to watch video. And I'm not saying it's the best place for any of our purposes, but it is huge. It is absolutely huge. It's bigger than Facebook now in terms of people that are using it. Second largest search engine. And if we're not thinking as information developers or technical communicators about how we can get our information out to our audience, and we're not thinking about video, we might be missing an opportunity to connect with them. Because as the marketing, and I put on my marketing hat, I say, someone's going to, and I had this conversation with someone today, if someone comes to my site, they look at the marketing stuff and they say, well, that's good, but what does it really do? And then they go watch a video tutorial about something, they say, I can see what it can really do. That's a big difference. That's going to change their likelihood and their attitudes about whether they want to make a purchase or not. So the opportunity for video is growing, and it's becoming more and more popular. It's becoming more and more mainstream. In fact, how many of you watched video on your mobile device before? Yeah. So everyone has a TV in their pocket. I remember being a kid thinking, man, I would love a TV on my watch. This would be awesome. Well, Apple probably just made that a reality. But I think the thing is, it gets me excited is there's so many untapped areas for us to connect with our audiences. And if we're really about being helpful as I am, that presents this great opportunity. So we start to get into this data. As we ask them, when are you most likely to look at a video? And for instructional and informational videos, most people watch in the mornings and then in the evenings. And I've thought about this a little bit. Why is that so? It's because when you have time, you come in the morning, you got a little time, you fire up a video, you watch it. You might turn to something during the afternoon if it's a just-in-time situation or a point of need. But then some of us, shame on all of us for going home and doing work, but some of us say that's when I can actually sit down and focus. And so we're going to watch videos then. Now, it's not to say that people don't watch other times, but from our study, this is what we found is people watching instructional and informational videos was in the morning and in the afternoon or in the evening. So now we get the data, right? So preferred length of video, it really depends on the type. So if anyone's never seen a stacked bar graph, I've had questions come up with this, so I'm just going to take a second to explain it. So of all the people, 100% of the people that said a minute or less, this is how it broke down. Most people like really short entertainment videos. Some people want instructional and informational videos. But one of the things I think was a little bit, I don't want to say earth-shattering, that's way too strong, but kind of enlightening for me was this range of instructional and informational videos that people are willing to tolerate a little bit more. They're willing to go and watch for a little bit longer. But I think there's some caveats with that. You can't just put out like a 10, 20-minute video and say everyone will watch it. We're going to see a bunch of different factors that contribute to that. But I think the important thing is people are willing to watch longer videos. If you don't need a longer video, though, you don't need 10, 15 minutes to do the job, don't make it 10 or 15 minutes, please. No one wants that. But if your content is really that deep and it's that important that they get it, that's great. I would probably start talking about chunking and some other ideas of how to make that even better for the kind of the ingestion of the video. But people are willing to watch for a little bit longer than I would have expected. And it actually changed some of my perceptions. Because I always used to say 2 minutes. You got 2 minutes, that's all. And you'll still hear people talk about that. And I think it just depends on your content. But people are willing. How many of you would actually be willing to watch a 10-minute video if it was the right subject and right topic? Would you have any problems with that? Yeah. You would, because you don't want to waste. You don't want 10 minutes, right? But we'll do it if we have to, and if it's the right information, right? You can argue. Yeah, I think I would worry too, and I want to really make sure that it's the right content that really needs that amount of time. I think what Microsoft said today applies to video, right? Can you cut it down? Can you make it straightforward? Can you make it simple? I think all those things that we're already talking about in the industry, they apply to the video piece as well. I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. Yeah, you can do navigation, right? Get people to jump around so they don't have to. They can see the parts that are most relevant or important to them. So we asked people how did they find the videos that they were watching, and so most people they're required to watch it. Their boss comes to them and says, "Guess what? This is you have to watch this for your job." They found it. They just kind of found it posted somewhere, and so they watch it. A lot of people actually search, and that's why if you're working with outwardly facing information, or even internally on your intranet, you want to think about how can people find this stuff? How am I going to most likely be able to lead them to find the thing that they need, so that they'll stumble upon it, but really that's probably not the ideal situation. So we need to start thinking about metadata. We need to start thinking about the content that surrounds the video that's going to allow the search engine, whether it's external or internal, to really dig and pull that video forward. I like this. How many of you have ever postponed watching a video? I like this, and I think it's the next slide. I think about 39% of the people are liars. We all postpone watching videos. We always say, I use Chrome, I use Firefox, and I often open up tabs. I'll put something on a tab. That's my bookmarking system. And I'll end up with like 20 tabs open until something happens, it crashes. I'm like, I don't want to go back and open them. But I postpone things all the time. So I think the idea is that people know that if you're going to provide something, people aren't going to watch it right at the time that they find it. They might, but more than likely they're going to wait until the time that's most convenient. And I think that's important to know. Unlike something like a text document where I can skim it, it's going to be a little bit harder to skim the video. It's going to be a little bit harder without giving it at least some dedicated time. So as you create your content, that does shape what you do. Where do you put your most important content then? How are you going to make sure that they find the thing that's going to be most helpful? Do you really know what's the most helpful piece of it? There we go. Have you ever stopped before finishing a video? Anyone? Yeah. I oftentimes will stop a video because I'm like, it's done. I don't need to see the last 5, 10, 15, 20 seconds. It doesn't matter. 18% of the people said no. And again, I think they're probably lying. Or they weren't thinking about it in the right context. Probably wasn't willful. Oh, hey, we just got a meeting notification. Anyone want to go to my in-product messaging midweek? No? Okay, me either. So 82% of the people said yes, they stopped. So then think about what you're doing with the end. That's not to say waste the time and just put some, graphics or whatever. But make sure that they know it's the end and that like you're pulling them through to completion. You can't just assume that they're going to watch. So here's the thing. We know they stop. We know they're going to postpone it. So why do they stop watching videos? We found that it wasn't the right content. It's not the expected information. So what this means to me that is you're setting up wherever this is going to go, how do you make sure that that's clear? How do you ensure for them that they know, yep, this is what I'm going to get? Whether that's from a training background, a learning objective, maybe it's a document kind of overview, maybe it's an outline, but provide them with something so they can clearly say, yep, this is worth my time, or no, or maybe even I just need to jump to the middle. I need to go to the point where I actually do need that. Another one that was interesting, why they stopped watching, they had other things to do. On the list of priorities, you are probably not number one. And I'm guessing it's the same thing with documentation, that the written word, that they're like, I don't want to read that manual. I don't want to read that procedure. They'll do it if they have to, but they've got other things. And so they all need to go, we all need to go to Karen's Getting Things Done class that was earlier today, and they can learn where to put the video in the priorities so they can actually get to it. Similarly, wrong topic. It wasn't the topic they wanted. And then this one has been very interesting, or not. They're bored or uninterested in what you have to say, which leads to a whole conversation about what kind of videos are you making. Is it the type of video where it's, welcome to this training tutorial. Today we're going to talk about blah, 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 blah. It could be. Or is it a little bit more exciting than that? I'm not advocating that we go out and be rock star video producer Steven Spielberg. No Star Wars. Well, you could do a Star Wars parody, I'm sure, someplace. But you have to figure out what is actually interesting to them. It's not about entertainment, but it's about what is actually going to engage your audience. What type of audience are they? Are they kind of a stiff, formal group? Or I work at a software company. I wear jeans and a t-shirt or kind of shirt like this every single day. If I'm not engaging them in a way that they like, they're not going to watch it. We do lots of videos at TechSmith, and some of them are just kind of like weekly reports. Somebody will report out something and they don't want to have a meeting, so they send a video. And one guy was sending 10-minute videos every week about some KPIs, and we're like, ugh. So he shortened them up. He found a little bit better voice, and I tolerate it. It's not saying it was interesting, but I had to watch it, and at least it was a lot better than the long, boring ones. So do think about how do you not be boring? How do you keep people's interest? And don't just rely on the answer like they have to do it, because especially when it comes to health and safety or things that are of potentially serious consequence, you need to make sure that they're paying attention. You don't want them to fail on that. So I like this because I get to use Valley speak. Like, it's boring because why? I just think the seagull just so represents that. So this goes into a little bit, right? Dull and monotone speakers. If you're doing your own voiceover work, and that's fine, you sound lovely, you sound exactly on the way you do in life as you do on tape. Most people hate their own voice. It's okay. Just don't be dull. Don't be monotone. Put a little energy into it. It's okay. Your boss will be okay with that. They won't think you're weird for having a little energy. Focus on just the content. Don't get off on tangents. Don't go down rabbit holes that are going to lead you to other things. That means preparation. Think about what you're really going to say and do. They said it's because it's a boring topic. I get there's just boring topics out there. So, okay, is there another way to approach it? If not, maybe just be upfront about it. Hey guys, we know this is not everyone's favorite topic, but these are the key things that you need to take away. One that also happens is too slow. It just, and this is a real balance because you got people who are going to be at this level that need it slow, and you got the people up here like, just get on with it. So the question then becomes is when you actually are deploying, are there options that you can give people? So in YouTube, if you're using the HTML5 player, you can actually switch speed. So I can watch videos at 1 1/4, 1.5, and 2 times speed. So hey, a 10-minute video just became 5. And if it's something that I'm kind of on the edge of whether I need to know, great. And I can always slow it down. I can pause it. I can rewind it. Again, they think it's boring because it's not the right topic. I'm like, why are you watching it then? Go find the right topic. If it's a repeat or old information, People don't want it to be repetitive, the same thing every year. Now, the nice thing about video is you can reuse it. But if it's going to be something that's annual training, maybe think about how do you mix it up a little bit. And then, this is so generic, a bad approach. It's just a bad approach. Your video stinks. That's what they say. What can you do? Go watch some good videos. And I'm not talking, the Netflix type of videos or Amazon Prime or wherever you might watch your videos. But go watch some people on YouTube. Just go home one night and say, who's doing good instruction? And you want to know who's making lots of money? I'm going to skip the gamers, because the gamers are making a lot of money. The guy that lives in Brighton here, PewDiePie, more subscribers on YouTube than anybody else. Beauty tutorials. They're making lots of money. A gal by the name of Michelle Fong, I think it is. She makes a lot of money on YouTube. She makes tutorials. It's friendly. It's engaging. I have no use for her tutorials. I have no hair. I'll put it back, it doesn't work for me. But because they're coming across as real people and it's engaging and it's, there's a little bit of there. I'm not saying it's for everybody and it's not going to work for you necessarily, but there's a good approach to it and people are flocking to see that, and she's doing all right. So much so that she just got sued for like $100,000 per song use that she didn't actually have permission to use on a lot of different videos. So watch your copyright. That's another lesson for you. So when they want different information, then this is what they were saying, that they, things, oftentimes it wasn't enough detail. There was no step-by-step instruction. The content didn't match the description. So we're seeing some themes that came out, or just, it's not specific enough. The cool thing about video is you can show all this type of detail. You can be very specific, and it doesn't take a long time to do so. Of course, in writing, you're going to be meticulous, and it's going to, then you're seeing your word count go up, and it's, you got to pare back and edit. With video, it's somewhat the same, but because you have a whole level that's already visual, of course you want to use your audio to help with that. But your detail all of a sudden becomes twofold, because you've got a visual aspect and an auditory aspect that then combine together. So those actually work in conjunction, and there's, if you're doing it fairly right, without lots of music or anything like that, you're going to see that they can process both streams at the same time. That we were developed to do that, and so you can give them actually more information. So don't be afraid to be specific. So this is where we get to quote Robert Frost and basically change gears a little bit. So all the stuff before was from the surveys, how people self-responded. So take it with a grain of salt. People self-respond in funny ways. They say things that they don't actually believe, or they don't want to be embarrassed. But now let's look at when they sent us examples of videos. So this is the 1900 examples. We tried to eliminate some of the entertainment ones if it was a certain length or clearly just a movie. But this is what we saw. So this is the interpretation part. So what do great videos have in common? Trusted brand, or comes from a trusted brand, source, or creator. So you do have to start to build a relationship with your audience. They want to know that you're not just screwing around here, you know what you're talking about, and you're going to do a good job. Good videos use call-outs, text overlays to help enhance the video. What I'm going to say to that, though, is you got to be careful, because if all you're doing is text overlays and you have no audio, that can be really complicated to follow along. My support team does it, and I want to, every time, guys, just say something. Oh, I don't want to say anything. But guys, just tell us what you're doing. It will be much better. The other thing is, if you have so much text to read, you can't read and watch mouse cursor. So use it sparingly, but it's important. Video with speakers, they want to see people. I have a really mixed, like my professional emotional side says, it's important. We saw a lot that videos that have people in it are good, but don't do the floating head in the corner, please. The little box. Take your web camera and just start off the video. Hey, my name is Matt Pierce. I'm from TechSmith, and here's what I'm going to do. That could be simple, like a 5-10 second intro, and then at the end say, hey, I hope you took away this, this, and this. Thanks for watching. But just show yourself. That will actually lead back to the first one to help you start creating that internal trusted brand. Good videos we saw have music. Again, I have mixed feelings about this, especially when it's information or instructional video. I'm not sure that music is always a good idea, because you've got an audio track with your voice, and then you're adding a second layer, which all of a sudden your brain says, whoa, 2 audio streams I got to process. And it becomes a lot more difficult for understanding, and cognitive load starts to play a factor. And so music, use it sparingly. Maybe you have a little quick intro as you know, or maybe it's an exit thing to note that it's over. If you're going to use it, bring the level way down. It should be barely there. A good movie, entertainment movie, the score always enhances, it never detracts, and it helps things move. It can be true for our videos too, but if you're unsure, I would just say, you know what? 3 out of 4 is not bad. Other attributes: intros, outros, animations, hyperlinks. You can actually hyperlink in a video to something else. So start to create this web of documents or videos. It could go to anything. You could hyperlink to a web page, an internet page, a PDF, your documentation, whatever it might be. It makes it more than just a video. There was community encouragement, which is it's a little bit tough to describe, but anytime that you can start building a community around these videos, people can comment on them. It's dangerous, right? You go out, especially I'll use YouTube as the ever-present example. You go out there and you don't know what you're going to get. We get crazy crap all the time. People swearing at us, telling us to do things to our moms, which I won't. We got people just, they're upset because something's not working, even though if you're asking for support on YouTube, it's like, why are you doing that? We have so many other better channels that we can help you faster. But if you can start to build this community engagement around video, that makes videos actually better. And then, of course, music's listed again. So, what did we get from lengths of examples? So this is not the stack bar graph, but you can start to see entertainment videos like all over the place. And I actually truncated the far end after 21 minutes because no one wants that video. But you can start to see links of the example videos that we got that people said were good were in here. So kind of similar in turn between, pretty close, 1 to 2, anywhere up to, I would say 6 to 10. But then again, you got to think about that content and the things that we've talked about. Is it really serving a need, or are you just long-winded? Probably long-winded. If you're not writing a script or doing an outline, you're probably going to be long-winded. Just the nature of kind of things. How are we doing on time? Because I'm not even sure where I'm. 13 minutes, okay. So I want to make sure either I pick things up. So these are things that keep people watching: interest, professional style, a little bit of quiz or survey you could build into the content to make sure that they're getting it. Music, unique and humorous. The unique and humorous is really tricky. As you guys know, your audience, especially if you're going to localize anything, we saw this again in Microsoft, so I won't belabor the point, but it's really important. But making stuff that's really going to interest people is the key. Make good stuff about what people want to know about. So how do you know what people want to know about? What do you guys think? How do you go find what they want to know about? Ask them. Check your blog, check your website. What are they searching for? Look at your Google Analytics. Use all those things that you would use normally to figure out what kind of videos you'd want to make. If you get lots of support calls or lots of calls about a particular process, maybe a video could help you solve that problem. I love this picture. I don't even know why, but people want things to be funny. They want it entertaining, but they don't really want it so much for instruction and information. There's a certain subgenre of videos that are instructional humor. There's one about Photoshop that's actually quite funny. But unless that's your thing and in a professional setting, it probably doesn't. You don't need to stretch that far. Viewers want to see things they're interested in. I think we've kind of repeated this point in this idea, but if you're not making for what they want, you might want to ask yourself, why are we making it? One we haven't touched on. Viewers want stuff that's easy to follow. So you have to really think, am I just kind of going through this and, think about your mouse cursor or whatever process you're doing. Are you giving them stuff so they can actually follow along or actually do at the end of the video? Or are you just talking at them? And I'd say a lot of people just talk at their audience. They just here you go. Here's 10 pieces of information you need to know. When really the best is, here, let me take you on a journey with me. Come, let me hold your hand. Let me pull you through step 1, step 2. If you ever go out to YouTube and try to find how to do something, I'm terrible at home repairs. I always go to YouTube and say, how do I do this? My sink is overflowing or something. And the ones that I hate are just you just do this 5 things and you're good to go. I'm like, Okay, hey, honey, can we call a plumber? Because I'm in trouble here. Viewers want step-by-step. So don't assume that they know something in your videos. Don't assume that they already got it. And, there's some level that you're probably going to be like, well, they do know that. Okay, if you're 100% sure, you can leave it out. But if not, give them step-by-steps, because those assumptions in video will lead to gaps. And they'll be like, whoa, wait, you were here, and now you're here, and do I go this way? Do I go that way? Which way do I go? So do try to provide some step-by-step instruction. Short to the point and not overly long. See what I did there? Short to the point, not overly long. We talked about music a lot already. I think music, if you're doing anything that's not informational, instructional, a little marketing piece or whatever, music is critical. I've seen videos change the way they feel and the way I react to them solely based on the track of the music. Take Jaws. We're by the seaside, right? Jaws, perfect. You guys know the music from Jaws, right? Dun, dun, dun. How scary would that have been if that was? Maybe scary if you hate clowns, but it would change the feel of the movie completely. And we're starting to see a whole culture of YouTube videos where they recut things and they make it. Usually it's going from light and kind of fluffy to dark. Someone did this with the movie Frozen, turned it into a horror flick. Mary Poppins, yes. You can do a lot, especially with the music. Cutting and timing makes a big difference too. Quality. And I'm not talking about just like quality of the instruction. I'm talking actually the way it looks. It does matter, and people thought it mattered a lot. So you want to make sure it's looking good. Now, to be fair, I don't have my camera, so I'm just going to do this as a replacement. You can do a lot with a mobile device. And you have to know your audience and their expectations. We are not expecting Hollywood, Bollywood. I just heard about Nigeria's got a big cinema. We're not expecting those movie quality features from you guys. If you want, and I can show you, I've got a camera, the DSLR, it's a Canon, it's really hefty and nice. That will do awesome, amazing quality. You don't have to do that. It has to be good enough. And an iPhone or Samsung or other Android device, you can get pretty far. But where quality really hurts is if your audio stinks. If you've got just audio that's like, whatever it might be, they can't understand you, it's going to kill your production. People will tolerate a lot more than they used to, but try to make it as good as you can. It should be clear. It doesn't have to be, if you've got camera and the lighting's not perfect, okay, fine. Because the other thing I'll tell you is the only way to get better in quality is to make and do. You got to do who's in the sketchnoting? I know Neil. Anyone else did the sketchnoting yesterday in the workshop? A couple of people. My sketchnotes, it's like, whoa, really? But if you keep doing it, it's going to look, oh, that's a little bit better. Of course, then you look at Neil's and you're like, man, that is awesome. But it's practice, 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 and try to make it as good as you can, and don't skimp on audio. So this is actually a sign. It doesn't look like this because it was a sticky note. I put it up on my wall when I moved over to marketing, and it's all about engagement. If you have a video and it's not engaging your audience, they don't care about it, they don't want to watch it, who cares? Why are you making it? Make something that they're going to want, that's going to actually be useful and helpful to them. Because we all, this is not about entertaining them. This is about making them better at whatever they're trying to do, whether they're using, in my case, a piece of software, trying to perform a certain procedure on our website, whatever it might be. So it's about engaging them in that kind of mental capacity. It might be engaging them in around the video with the community, but you need to get them to want to be engaged with you. So just kind of reiterating a couple things here. Biggest factors of engagement. Humor was a big one. This is what was reported. Again, you've heard my mixed feelings about humor. Content interest is the secondary piece here. Just make stuff that they want to see. But there's lots of other pieces. Get all the pieces here. Short, good story or script. Use a good story. And use storytelling techniques. Cool thing about video is it doesn't have to be step 1, do this. Step 2, do this. Take them on a journey. Use some story elements. You're all probably really good writers. You're probably good technical writers, and that probably bleeds over into a lot of different types of writing. Use that to your advantage. A good script, a good story, a good whatever kind of technique or method you're going to use to move them from point A to point B can go a really long way and be very helpful. Good music if you're going to use it, good quality. It's got to be instructional, unique, interesting, and if possible, if you're talented, you can entertain and instruct at the same time. At a conference last year, a guy was representing an organization that works with John Cleese and Monty Python. They make instructional videos for a lot. It seems like mostly for the government and how to do silly walks, I believe. But it was seriously, they have a serious organization that makes videos and uses humor, and mostly with John Cleese in it, to teach difficult principles. So I know we've gone through this quickly. There's a lot we can talk about more if you want to get into details. This is me on Twitter. You can follow me. If you want to connect on LinkedIn, we'd be more than happy to. Happy to answer any questions you have, but thank you for you guys' time and attention. Oh, good question. I would have to go back and look at the researcher's slide deck to see what was in there, because I can't remember off the top of my head. My guess, if I had to just guess off the top of my head, is that people stop for a lot of different reasons, and it just depends on why they stopped. If they're not interested, they're going to stop early on. I can tell you from a YouTube perspective, because I've dabbled a lot with YouTube in the last year, given my current role of social media manager. There's a reason YouTube puts the 5-second skip button. They're gonna realize that people don't really want to watch more than 5 seconds. If it's something they're not interested in, get me out of there. But it doesn't speak to there's lots of reasons people might stop, and I think we have to understand that before we know timing. It might be that I got the information I needed, and if you front load your video with the key information up front, which isn't a bad idea, you can expect drop off. Typical view rate, and if you dabble in YouTube at all, you can go and look at audience graph, and this is really cool data. You can see when do people drop off in your videos, audience retention. And a lot of them look like the long tail. Especially if you get lots of views, and usually we get lots of views by putting a little bit of money behind it, and you see, whoop, 5 seconds and drops. But if it's really good content, we've got a video that's like 20 minutes long. It's all about how to record mobile devices. And this was a couple years old now, all about recording mobile devices using either a hardware or software solution, because it's not easy to do. And what we find is that there's a point where it drops, and then what it shows is actually it picks back up again. So people are going, oh, nope, not going to watch that, scrub, or drop out and come back in at this other point. Because at that point is when they talk about a very specific solution that someone can use. So it just really depends. Any other questions? Yeah. I don't think I've seen the Microsoft Office. Okay. I don't think I've seen that. I don't know that I've seen those in particular, but I'm guessing the idea is that you take this high quality, mix up kind of interpersonal and something useful, entertainment and edutainment. Is that what we call it in the States? It's educational, but it's entertainment at the same time. All the Discovery Channel in the U.S. is kind of like that with its shows. So I guess the question, I have not seen that. Is there more to the question? I think that actually, depending on your audience, right, and depending on where you're publishing, having a formula and having episodes is really good for building long-term audiences. If your audience is built in, you might not have to do that. I have a friend who works at Google, and he just started working on a project called, I think it's called the Apps Show, APPS Show. And they have a formula, and it goes through, it's all about teaching Google Apps, it's not Word, what are the docs and sheets and the presentation stuff. And so they're just going through giving tips and tricks every week. They have 2 hosts, and they stand up, and it's really high quality because it's Google, and they've got more money to spend than any of us. And so I think that can be really good if that's what your audience requires. If you have a built-in audience, maybe that's not, I'd figure out what do they want recurring tips? Do they want how do they want to receive that? Or is it just in time as we do? We do a lot of videos based on the release cycle. A new version came out, okay, swap out the old videos, put in the new ones, or as we have time throughout the cycle, we'll create new content. Here's 3 new videos on this topic, or we're getting lots of complaints or lots of comments about how do I do this, we'll try to address that. And we address it on our blog, we address it on our tutorial site, kind of wherever.
What do you think about companies or individuals that have multiple YouTube channels? I mean, there's a little bit of, I've seen a little bit of overkill in some corporates, but do you think there's a place for that?
I know it really depends on what you're trying to do. For us, we have a German channel, a Japanese channel, the English main channel, and then we have a product called Coach's Eye that has its own channel. And the reason Coach's Eye gets its own channel is because it's a sports app. It's for coaches recording, their athletes, and then they can annotate on it. So that's very different from the core product. And they're trying to build, their brand is almost, it's almost a separate identity. So can you have more than one channel? Sure. I've seen people do their own tutorials. I think HP does one that's all like kind of a support channel. Yeah, you got to manage it though. Anytime you have multiple places, things, you got to manage that. If you're willing to do that, you got time and resource, cool. I don't. There's another question back here. Yes, sir.
I wonder if anyone else has experienced this as being a bit of a turf war in the company, that the marketing department seems to, for some reason, take over instructional presentation by means of video on Friday afternoons, whereas they wouldn't do it with me.
You know, so at least in TechSmith, I think partially because we're small, we're not a big company, and my relationship with that team, having prior been the manager, they've actually come to us and said, we can't create more content than we already are doing. So if there's things that you see as a need, you guys got to kind of do it on your own. Oh, thanks for dimming the lights. So it's not a turf war. It's a kind of, we've said, look, let's share the responsibility here to make our customers successful. Is every company like that? Probably not. But I'm trying to be very open, like, look, my goal and my purpose is to make people happy and successful with the product. Because that's, at the end of the day, if you're using my product and you like using the product and you got answers to your questions, I'm hoping that's going to cause you to buy it. And that's, as much as, the purest instructional designer in me that just wants to, yay, teaching, learning, let's be happy. At the end of the day, if the people aren't buying our products, guess what? My kids don't eat. And I've got 4 of them, so they need to eat a lot. So I think we're out of time, but if you have more questions, happy to stick around.